Hello students, welcome to my lecture series on reinforced concrete structures. In this class, I am going to discuss about a complete design of doubly reinforced beam in limit state method as per IS 456-2000. So let us see what are the outcomes of today's class. After completion of this class, you will be able to design by your own a simply supported doubly reinforced beam. And let us recall what are things we have discussed in last class. We have discussed about design steps for designing doubly reinforced beams. So let me recall those steps. First step we have to calculate what is the total load or factor load. Based on the factor load, we have to calculate factored bending moment. After that, what is the limiting moment of resistance of a particular beam we have to calculate. Then we have to compare factored bending moment and limiting moment of resistance of a beam. If your factored bending moment is greater than a limiting bending moment, then we go for a design of a doubly reinforced beam. If mu is, that is, a factored bending moment is less than mu limit, then we go for design of singly reinforced beam. Then we have discussed and how to calculate FSC. FSC means what? A stress in compression reinforcement that can be calculated based on d dash by d value, d dash by d ratio, and grade of steel given from the table number F of SP16. We can calculate there. After knowing that, we have to calculate what is the AST, the area of total tension steel. Then we have to calculate area of compression steel. So these are the designs. Then after design of this member, then we go for check like deflection check. Deflection check, how to do the deflection check? We have to calculate L by D max and L by D provided. L by D max can be calculated based on tensile reinforcement and compression reinforcement provided in that beam, and based on that KT means modification factors we have to calculate based on with respect to tension and with respect to compression. Like that we have to calculate, and finally we check whether our L by D maximum is greater than L by D provided. Then I can say it is safe against the deflection. Then we go for shear. These are all about design of doubly reinforced beam under flexure condition. Next part of this is design of a doubly reinforced beam for shear. Shear design means to arrest the shear cracks formed in the beam. There we have to provide shear reinforcement in the form of stirrups or bent up bars and inclined stirrups. So those we have to design. For that we have to calculate what is a factored shear forces. After obtaining factored shear force, we have to calculate what are the shear resisting capacity of a concrete and shear resisting capacity of a steel. Based on that shear resisting capacity of a steel, we have to calculate what the number of stirrups are required, what is the spacing to be maintained for stirrup. Those things we have to discuss, right? So with that, the base background of those steps, by utilizing those steps, now we will design a numerical problem here, a doubly reinforced simply supported beam. So let us read out the problem here. A simply supported rectangular beam 230 mm by 600 mm over an effective span of 5 meters. So this underline this, effective span of 5 meters. The superimposed load on the beam is 50 kilonewton per meter. It is a superimposed load, that is 50 kilonewton per meter. Effective cover to the reinforcement is taken as 50 mm and use M20 concrete and Fe415 steel. So when we are solving the problem, just once read out the problem, then go sentence by sentence later. Then we will discuss sentence by sentence about this problem. Design, what type of beam we have to design now? A simply supported rectangular beam. What are the size given? 230 mm by 600 mm. What here 600 mm is the overall depth. It doesn't mention anything whether it is effective depth or anything. So it doesn't mention anything means we have to assume it as a overall depth. So overall depth is 600. Sometimes in the problem it may give effective depth also. So again effective span of the beam, that is 5 meters. Instead of clear span has given effective span. So no need to calculate separately what is effective span for simply supported beam is. If we give a clear span, then we have to go as per codal provision, we have to calculate what is effective span. That is, for simply supported beam, effective span will be taken based on the two criteria. Minimum of those two criteria will be taken as a effective span. that is center to center distance between the supports, and one more criteria is clear spans plus effective depth of the beam. The minimum of these two will be taken as effective span. So here directly in the problem he is given that what the effective span is. So you need to calculate that effective span step here. And the superimposed load on the beam is 50 kilonewton per meter. So that means it is a live load given. So based on this live load and self weight of the beam, that is a dead load, we have to calculate what is the total load is. And then effective cover of reinforcement in is taken as 50 mm. Reinforcement here we are provided, we don't know whether we have to provide in compression zone or we have to provide in tension zone initially. After calculating few steps, then we have to calculate whether we are designing for it is doubly reinforced beam or singly reinforced beam. If it is a doubly reinforced beam, if you are designing, so that 50 mm is effective cover in your compression zone as well as in tension zone. That's why effective cover to the reinforcement. The reinforcement may be in compression zone or in the tension zone also. For that we have to take for the both the cases 50 mm if we are designing a simply doubly reinforced beam, right? And grade of concrete given is M20 and grade of steel given is Fe415. So with this data we have to write what is the data provided here. So here effective length L equal to 5 meters, imposed load that is live load equal to 50 kilonewton per meter, Fy is a characteristic strength of a steel that is 415 newton per mm square, and a characteristic strength of a concrete that is M20 grade given that is 20 newton per mm square. Width of the beam given is 230 mm and overall depth is 600 mm. And from that overall depth and effective depth given, we can calculate what overall depth and effective cover given, we can calculate what is the effective depth. So small d is equal to capital D, overall depth minus effective cover, that is 600 minus 50 will give me the 550 mm, that equal to effective depth of a beam, right? The first step is calculation of design or factor load. You know, that means for total load, what is the amount of total load which is acting on the beam which is going to be designed. So anyhow we have the dead load, and in the problem he has given live load, right? We add together, we will get what is the total load, and the total load will be multiplied with some partial factor of safety, then we can get the factor load. So let's see how to calculate the dead load of or self weight of a beam. That is total area of a beam, gross area of a beam, gross cross sectional area of a beam multiplied by unit weight of the material. What material we are using for beam? We are using for RCC is the material. The unit weight of that material we have to multiply here. So the given width of the beam is 230, depth of the beam is 600, unit weight of the RCC is 25 kilonewton per meter cube. After multiplying all those factors, we will get what is the total dead load of a designed the beam which is going to be designed. That is 3.45 kilonewton per meter. Then coming to the imposed load, this imposed load is nothing but your live load, that equal to 50 kilonewton per meter. Now we have to add these two. That means total load which is acting on the beam. That is sum of dead load and live load here. If you have any unforeseen loads like finishes, if you give in the problem, that two loads also you can add in this. But in this problem they are not. They have given only dead load and live load. So based on that I am calculating the factor load. So dead load is 3.45 plus live load is 50. Altogether we will get a 53.45 kilonewton per meter. And from that we have to calculate factor load. That factor load can be calculated 1.5 into total load. What is this 1.5? This is a partial factor of safety used in limit state of collapse under flexure condition for a combination of load using dead load and live load. That's why we are using combination of load is dead load and live load. For that a partial factor of safety is 1.5. So 1.5 multiplied by this 53.45 will get 80.15 kilonewton per meter. So this is a factored load. Based on this factor load, we have to calculate what is the factored bending moment is. That will come in later steps. So before that we have to calculate limiting depth of neutral axis. So this limiting depth of neutral axis is depends upon the grade of steel. The given grade of steel is Fe415, corresponding to limiting depth of neutral axis, that Fe415 here, and it is 0.48D. This table will be available in your IS 456 2000. From there I have copied this table, right? For corresponding to this Fe415, that is 0.48D. Here D is effective depth, then XV max equal to the limiting depth of neutral axis. I can say maximum depth of neutral axis is equal to 0.48D, and D is in the problem it is given that 550 mm. If you multiply 0.48 with the 550, then we will get 246 mm is the limiting depth of neutral axis. Then after obtaining the limiting depth of neutral axis, just calculate what is the limiting moment of resistance is. So you know, limiting moment of resistance is mu limit. Just copied it, mu limit. Just discard this the term which is in bracket. Right, it is mu limit. Right, the limiting moment of resistance nothing but the moment of resistance calculated with respect to the limiting depth of neutral axis. So for that we have a formula here, that is mu limit equal to 0.36 FCK B into XU max into D minus 0.42 XU max. We are calculating for with respect to the balanced section, right? I can use this, otherwise you can use this formula also, mu equal to K into FCK BD square. This K value depends upon the grade of steel. If we modify this equation, we will get this, nothing problem. So anyhow we have calculated as XU max means we will use this formula. So mu limit equal to 0.36 into FCK is 20, B is 230 and XU max obtained is 246 or multiplied by lever arm. In lever arm equal to D minus 4.2 XU max. So D equal to 550 minus 0.42 XU max equal to 246. After calculating this, we will get this value in terms of Newton into mm. If we convert this into kilonewton and meter, mu limit equal to 181.966 kilonewton into meter. So after calculating mu limit, we have to calculate what is the factored bending moment or the moments due to the applied factored load. So in the problem it is given that it is we are designing a simply supported beam with a uniformly distributed factored load of VU, WU. This WU we have already calculated on our first step. So for this case, when a simply supported beam subjected to UDL, then the maximum bending moment occur over the beam, that is mu equal to WL square by 8. So this concept you know from your strength of material when you are when you are solving the problem regarding shear force and bending moment topic. So from that we got this mu equal to WL square by 8. Here WU is 80.187 into L is effective length, that is 5 square by a whole by 8. From that we will get ME is equal to 250.55 kilonewton into meter. This ME, you know what is this? It is a applied factored moment. Applied, or I can say maximum bending moment which is coming onto the beam due to this factored load. Right, now next step we have to compare MU and MU limit. That means applied factored bending moment and a limiting moment of resistance of a beam. Why should we compare? Whether we go for which type of design, whether you go for singly reinforced design or the doubly reinforced design. Though that thing will depends upon this MU and MU limit value. Say MU is equal to 250.55 kilonewton into meter and MU limit is 181.966 kilonewton into meter. If we compare this to our MU limit is less than MU limit is less than MU. Other words I can say our applied bending moment is greater than limiting bending moment. Right? Means what? Applied bending moment will not resist by the dimensions or what you provided, grade of steel, grade of concrete, dimensions we have provided, that will not bear that. So what we'll do, we have to increase the resistance of that particular beam by providing some extra reinforcement in compression zone. That's how we can improve the resisting capacity of a beam. That's why we are providing a reinforcement in the compression zone, so we can call it a doubly reinforced beam. So when the situation occurs like this, that is MU is greater than MU limit, then we design a beam as a doubly reinforced beam. Right? Let us start our actual steps for designing doubly reinforced beam. As I told you, as we are providing a steel in compression zone also, there we have to calculate what is the stress in compression steel. That can be calculated by using D dash by D ratio and given grade of steel. Here given grade of steel is Fe415 and D dash by D ratio is 0.01, and in the that is SP16 of table number F. Table F of SP16 will suggest us if you are getting intermediate values, then you can take next higher value for the calculating FSC. So here for Fe415 and D dash by D equal to 0.09, then this will be the intermediate value between 0.05 and 0.1. The next higher value of this 0.09 is 0.1. So corresponding to that Fe415 and 0.1 ratio, that is 353 is the stress in compression steel. So this is how we calculate FSC. So after obtaining that, we have to calculate what is the area of tension steel in balanced singly reinforced section. As you know, when we are analyzing the doubly reinforced beam, we have divided that total beam into two sections. One is a section corresponding to the balanced singly reinforced beam. Second one is a imaginary beam corresponding to the compression reinforcement and additional steel. So this we have derived in our previous classes. That is, AST can be calculated is that AST1 is equal to mu limit by 0.87 Fy into d minus 0.42 XU max. MU limit already we have calculated in previous steps, that is 8119667111.7 whole by 0.87 into Fy equal to 415 and small d equal to effective depth, that is 550 minus 0.42 and XU max equal to 246. After calculating this, all this value will get what is AST1 is, that is 1128.3 mm square. What is the AST1 here? It is the area of steel provided in balanced singly reinforced simply supported beam. Simply saying, in our analysis, it is a area of steel corresponding to the section 1. Right. Similarly, in next step we have to calculate what is the AST2 and MU2. We have calculated what is MU is and we have calculated what is MU limit is. What is MU? From that MU2 can be calculated. We know that MU equal to MU limit plus MU2. From that MU2 equal to MU minus MU limit. Of MU2, you know what is MU value and minus of MU limit, that is MU equal to 250.55 into 10 power 6 minus MU limit equal to 181966711.7. After deducting this value, MU limit from MU, then we will get MU2 is, that is 685832 Newton into mm. So this is how we calculate moment resisting capacity with respect to section 2, right? So now we have to calculate the area of additional steel provided in section 2 in our analysis part, that is MU2 moment resisting capacity of a section 2 by 0.87 Fy into d minus d dash. Now substitute the obtained value of MU2 here and Fy equal to 415 and is 0.87 and into d minus d dash equal to 550 minus 50, then we will get AST2 is equal to 380 mm square. So finally we have calculated what is AST1 and what is AST2 is. If we add together, we will calculate what is the total area of tension reinforcement provided in the doubly reinforced beam, that is AST equal to AST1 plus AST2. Right. As per our previous steps, AST1 equal to 1128.3 and AST2 equal to 380. If we add together, we will get AST, that is area of tension steel in doubly reinforced beam provided is 1508.3 mm square. So this area we have to provide in the form of number of bars. So for that we have to choose some suitable diameter of bar. For this case I am choosing the diameter of bar is 20 mm and area of one bar equal to A5 pi by 4 into 5 square, that is 20 square, that is 314 mm square. So after obtained AST and area of a single bar, I can calculate what are the number of bars required is. So that is AST by A5, AST is 15,008.3 by A5 is 314. Then if we calculate this, I will get 4.8. So I cannot provide directly 4.8 bar in the actual beam. It is a fractional part. So I have to round it out to next higher value. So I will provide 5 number of bars of 20 mm diameter. So this is the area required, AST area required, and because of provision of 5 bars, providing a 5 bars into the actual beam, then AST provided will become 1570 mm square. That is 5 into pi by 4 into 20 square. Actually 4.8 is required, but 4.8 it is practically impossible to provide. So that's why we are making it a next higher value. So we are calculating area of steel with respect to 5 bars. So 5 into pi by 4 into 20 square will get 1570 mm square. This is AST provided. Similarly, calculate what is the area of compression reinforcement ASC is. So ASC we can calculate by using this formula, that ASC equal to MU2 by FSC into d minus d dash, and MU2 we have calculated already 685832.88.3 by FSC is 353 and this capital small d is 550 and d dash is 50. From this we get ASC equal to 388.6 mm square. Here also this ASC also provided in terms of number of bars of certain diameter. So for this I will choose a certain diameter for a particular bar, that is 16 mm bar I am choosing, and this is 16 mm bar. So this area of 116 mm bar, please make it correct. This I copied from last slide here. The 16 mm dia bar, a pi by 4 into 16 square, that will give me 201 mm square. How much? 201 mm square. Now calculate number of bars, that is AST by A5, that is AST is 388.6 by A5 is 201, then you get 1.93 bars. Again I got in terms of fractions, I cannot provide fractional bars in the reinforcement, so I will make it a round figure, that is 2 number of bars. So according to 2 number of bars, what is ASC provided actually? That is 2 into pi by 4 into 16 square. From that we will get 402 mm square. So after obtained AST and ASC, we have to check for maximum area of a tension reinforcement and compression reinforcement provided in the section. Before that, we have to calculate what is the percentage of tensile reinforcement and what is the percentage of a compression reinforcement. Say percentage of tensile reinforcement in doubly reinforced beam is PT, that equal to 100 AST provided by B into D. 100 AST provided is 1570, and that we have already calculated is corresponding to 5 bars of 20 mm diameter by 230 into 550. 230 is the B and small d is the 550. Then I got the percentage of tensile reinforcement is 1.25%. Similarly, calculate what is the percentage of compression reinforcement is. So PC equal to 100 ASC provided by BD, that 100 into ASC provided is 402 mm square by B is 230 and D is 550. Then we will get 0.31%. These two percentages will help you when we are checking against the deflection of a beam. Right. Let us check the maximum area of a reinforcement. That may be a compression or that may be a tension. As per class 26.5.1.1 of B of IS 456-2000, the maximum area of tension reinforcement shall not be exceed, that is 4% of BD. That means AST obtained should be less than the area of this 4% of BD. If I calculate, I will get 5520 mm square. By AST provided is actually 1570 mm square, but maximum up to where we can provide, that is 5520. So our obtained value or provided value is well below that 4% of BD, so we are safe against the we are fulfill the criteria of IS 456-2000 with respect to the tension reinforcement provided. Similarly, we have another one for maximum area for compression reinforcement. As per class number 26.5.1.2 of IS 456-2000, there also the maximum area of compression reinforcement shall not exceed 4% of BD, that is 0.04 of BD, and here that means ASC is less than 5520 mm square. ASC obtained is or provided is 402 mm square, and that is 4% of BD is 5520 mm square. So our ASC is well below this maximum value. So again we have fulfilled our maximum criteria for providing area of compression reinforcement as per IS 456-2000. Right. Let us go for another check. So we check for deflection. There is same what we discussed in our singly reinforced design. Same thing we have to calculate here. But if we are providing reinforcement in both the zones here, compression as well as tension, we have to check by utilizing the values of compression and tension. We have to calculate or we have to check against the deflection. So first let me consider by percentage of tension reinforcement and stress in steel under the service load. The stress in steel under service load we can calculate by using this formula, that is Fs equal to 0.58 Fy AST required by AST provided. So 0.58 AFy is 415, AST actual required is 1508 and AST provided is 1570. So from that the value obtained for Fs is 231 Newton for mm square, and we know the percentage of tension reinforcement is 1.25. If we calculate the values of those, 231 Newton for mm square and PT equal to 1.25 percentage, we don't have direct value of modification factor here. For that we have to go for what is that interpolation technique. So if you do the interpolation technique, we will get the value of KT. KT is the modification factor with respect to the tension reinforcement. Say here the percentage of steel is 1.25, here 1, here 1.25, but we are not having the value of 231. We have a curve of Fs is 190 and 240. So correspondingly we will get two different values with respect to the 1.25 percentage of steel, and if you do the interpolation between that, we will get the KT equal to 0.98 here. Right. Next, by considering percentage of compression reinforcement, we have to calculate what is the modification factor Kc is. So modification factor Kc can be calculated with respect to percent of 0.31 percentage is, say here this 0.5 is 0.25, here we have some 0.31 percentage. If I inject this project on this curve, I will get somewhere that is well below the 1.1, that is I will take 1.01. So my modification factor for compression is 1.09 and modification factor for tension is 0.98. And by utilizing these basic values, as I am designing a simply supported beam, the basic value for that is 20. If I substitute here L by D maximum equal to basic value into KT into Kc, basic value is 20 for simply supported beam, KT is 0.98 and Kc equal to 1.09. Then L by D maximum obtained is 21.36 and L by D provided. L by D means L is effective length, D is effective depth, and effective length given is 5000 mm and effective depth is 550 mm. Then if you calculate this, we will get 9.09. So the value L by D maximum is greater than L by D provided, so I can say our beam is safe against the deflection. So these all about a design of a doubly reinforced beam with respect to the limit state of collapse in flexure condition. But we have to design, or we are interested to design of shear reinforcement also. For that also we have few steps. So first of all, for that, yes, we are designing to resist the shear force, we have to design the shear reinforcement. What is the amount of shear reinforcement or shear forces acting on the beam, that we have to calculate. As we are calculating for simply supported beam with the UDL condition, the maximum shear force occur at the support, that value will be Vu equal to WL by 2. This is factored load, it is a factored shear force. So from that, W equal to 80.175 into 5 whole by 2, that is, if you calculate, you will get 200.4 kilonewtons. Right. Next, you have to calculate nominal shear as per IS code 456. They are calculated the class number 40.1. Then the nominal shear stress can be calculated. Tau V is equal to Vu by BD. Vu is already calculated, that is 200.4 into kilonewton mm, that is this I have converted into newtons, that is 200.4 multiplied by 1000, that shear force value will be converted into newtons. And B is a 230, D is a 550, that nominal shear stress value will be 1.58 Newton for mm square. Then calculate maximum shear stress, the tau C max. Why should we calculate this tau C max is? So by comparing the tau V and tau C max, whether we go for design of the member or whether we go for redesign of the member, that means we have to check adequacy for providing shear reinforcement. So this value, the tau C max value, can be calculated according to the table number 20 of IS 456-2000. This tau C max value depends upon grade of concrete. So the grade of concrete given in the beam, given the problem is 20, that is M20. So corresponding maximum shear stress is tau C max equal to 2.8 Newton for mm square. Now compare both the values. Your value tau V is say somewhere that 1.58 Newton for mm square and tau C max is 2.8 Newton for mm square. Now your tau V is less than tau C max. If tau V is greater than tau C max, then it is not adequate to providing shear reinforcement or shear design. But here tau V is less than tau C max, so I can say it is adequate to provide shear reinforcement. That shear reinforcement be provided as a nominal shear reinforcement as per codal provision, or whether we have to go for separate design. So the condition exists between these two is tau V is less than tau C max. So we go for the further step. What are the further steps here? So before going to the further step of calculation, here we have to calculate design shear strength. This can be calculated as per table number 19 of IS 456-2000. It depends upon the grade of, that is area of steel, percentage area of steel and grade of concrete. From that we can calculate what is tau C is. So here for calculating these, here just dear students, a new topic, just listen here. As we have calculated 5 bars of 20 mm diameters, that will provide it as a tension reinforcement as a main bars, out of which 2 bars are curtailed at a distance of 0.08 L from the support. So what do you mean by this? So if you take the simply supported beam, at the supports the bending moments are 0. My question is, why should we take our main reinforcement up to the support? That's the best thing. That's why there is a provision from the code that the bar, some of the bar should be curtailed. That means cut the bar up to some distance from the support. So that is 0.08 of effective length. So 0.08 of effective length of 5000 mm is 400 mm from the support. From 4000 mm from the support, we have to cut our main bar. Though we are providing 5 number of 20 mm bars, among that 3 bars only go up to the supports and remaining 2 bars will be stopped somewhere, that is 400 mm from the support either side of the beam. So for that the shear reinforcement is provided for throughout the length of the beam. For that area of tension reinforcement only we have to calculate shear design. We have to go for the shear design. Say here at support I have only 3 bars, that is 2 bars are curtailed at a distance of 400 mm from the support. So the 3 bars are going up to the support. For the 3 into pi by 4, how many, the diameter about 20 mm. For that I have calculated 942 mm square. So the AST at the support of bar is 942 mm square. From that I have to calculate what is the percentage of steel. That is 100 into AST by BD. From that I will get 0.75 percentage. For M20 grade concrete and 0.75 percentage, if I go back to my table number 19, so direct value has 0.75 percentage of steel and M20 grade of concrete. What is the tau C? Design shear strength tau C is 0.56 Newton for mm square. Now this value should be compared with our tau V. If tau C is less than tau V, then we go for our design of shear reinforcement. If the case is reverse, if our tau V is less than tau C, then we will provide a nominal shear reinforcement. Now with this case, our tau V is 1.58 and tau C is just 0.56 Newton for mm square. The relation exists between these two is our tau C is, that is design shear strength of a concrete is less than nominal shear stress. So we have to go for design of a shear. So for designing the shear reinforcement, first of all we have to calculate what is the shear resistance capacity of a concrete and what is the shear resistance capacity of a steel together. So why should we calculate? In a RC beam, the shear to be resisted by concrete as well as steel, but we are providing a shear reinforcement in terms of steel bars. So what finally we have to calculate what is the amount of shear to be resisted by only shear reinforcement provided. Okay, so from that total shear force to be resisted, from that we have to deduct what is the shear force resisted by the concrete alone. The leftover part will be the shear resistance of a shear reinforcement. So first we have to calculate shear resistant capacity of a concrete, that is VC equal to tau C into BD, that is 0.56 into 230 into 550. From that we will get shear resistant capacity of a concrete 70840 newtons. And then next we have to calculate shear to be resisted by shear reinforcement. VUS equal to, that is total shear force to be resisted minus shear resisting capacity of a concrete. Then we will get shear resistance of a shear reinforcement. That is here we have 200.4 into 1000, that will become in terms of Newton, and tau C into BD you have already calculated here. After calculating that, VUC equal to 129560 newtons. So here say let us provide a vertical stirrups here. Those are 8 mm dia of 2-legged vertical stirrups. The area of those are calculated as they have the 2 numbers. So pi by 4 into 8 square will get 100.5 mm square. Then we have to calculate the spacing of providing a vertical stirrup. Here we have three criteria, the A, B, C. The minimum spacing of these 3 criteria will be provided as a spacing for the vertical stirrup. So first criteria is spacing with respect to the VUS. This can be calculated by using this formula SV equal to 0.87 Fi ASV into D by VUS. After substituting all those values, that 0.87 Fi is 415, ASV is that is 100.5 and D is 550, and VUS we have already calculated that shear resisting capacity of a shear reinforcement, that is 129560, will get 154 mm, say 150 mm provided as per the criteria A. Then we have to calculate spacing with respect to the minimum shear reinforcement consideration, that is ASV BSU equal to 0.4 by 0.87 Fi. From this we can calculate what SV is. SV equal to ASV into 0.87 into Fi by 0.4 into B. So substitute ASV equal to 100.5 and 0.87 Fi is 415 and 0.4 into B is 230. Then according to this condition, a spacing to be provided is 394 mm. and we have another criteria, that is maximum allowed spacing. Here we have a two sub criteria. From that minimum value will be provided. The first criteria 0.75D, another is 300 mm. Corresponding to 0.75D, the 0.75 multiplied D is 550 equal to 412.5 mm. Another is 300 mm. Minimum of these two we have to provide. So according to the first condition, first criteria, that means criteria A, we got 150 mm is spacing. Second B, that is 392 mm, and 300 mm. So among these three, the lesser value will be provided as a spacing. So spacing of stirrups are provided minimum of criteria A, B and C. Hence provide two-legged 8 mm diameter stirrups at 150 mm center to center. So let us see the detailing of reinforcement, as we are designing for simply supported beam. These are the simple supports, and we have calculated 5 numbers of tension reinforcement of 20 mm diameter bar. So they are provided in tension zone. So this is a tension zone of a beam. Here we have to provide 5 number, and I already explained you that in that 3 bars are going up to the supports and 2 bars are cut-tailed. So see, if you see here in the longitudinal section of a bar, so this bar, this some bent upward, these are cut-tailed up to here. These are 2 number of bars provided up to here only. Say where they are cut-tailed up to from the support, that is 400 mm. Again explaining you why should we cut-tail the tension reinforced means. We know the main role of the tension reinforcement provided in the beam is to restrict the bending moment, right? At the support, the bending moment is 0, you know that. So why should we extend to all the bars up to the support? That is useless thing. So that's why, by saving purpose, the quantity of steel saving purpose, I am cutting the bar 400 mm this side and 400 mm this side. That is a codal provision, that is for all the beams. That doesn't mean that we have to cut 400 mm. That is a codal provision, that 0.08 times effective length. According to this problem, that value will be 400 mm. Right. Alright. Here you see in compression reinforcement, we have calculated 2 bars of 16 mm diameter. So here we have to provide 2 bars of 16 mm diameter, and these are the vertical stirrups, the vertical lines which are showing in the longitudinal section of a beam. That is 2 legs 8 mm. They are provided a spacing of 150 mm. So if you see the cross section of that, a cross section at the midspan. If I take the cross section here, there I have to provide 5 number of 20 mm diameter bars in tension zone and 2 number of 16 mm diameter bar in compression zone. And if we go to the near the supports, we have only 3 bars as a main reinforcement, because 2 bars are cut-tail. That's why they are showing 1, 2, 3, and these 2 are as usual compression reinforcement. This is all about the detailing of your reinforcement. That's all for today's lecture. Thank you.